First off, I was told from the get-go that mine was an important job and I had to be at work.
You gotta be at work anyway.
Yeah, so
The only one in the office.
so my initial thing was, okay, that means I just have to stay in my office, because my office was the size of this room.
Yeah.
And, well, yeah, like counters all the way around, server room was next one over. It was kind of nice.
Wow.
The only effect that COVID had while I was at Reisenfeld was my boss closed his door into my office. And I'm like, cool.
One of the guys that works with some of the security friends over there in Amelia, he was hired as a intern,
Mhm.
and then they hired him at the end of his internship, and for a year suspension or whatever. But just as COVID hit, they hired him as a real employee, and of course with COVID, they made him come in, all right, because he's necessarily a security guy, right? Because he doles out the VPNs. Of course, they only had 300 VPNs at the time with like 5,000 employees.
Oh,
So they
needed somebody to do some setups.
Well, like I say, of course, he can't get in to do it, so he had to go to the office, because he had to have access to get in anyway to, dole out, because they only had, the 300 things. So they did this like 4-shift rotation. Like everybody only worked 4 hours, so that everybody could take turns on the
That's nice.
3 hour, or could get in and do, you had like 8 to noon, noon to 4, 4 to 8, and
Can you hear us, Art?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear.
Okay,
yeah, but so
all
then
good.
Do what?
5 by
he
5.
wouldn't get to
5 by
try.
5.
So that they made him have to always, like every 72 hours, he had to have a test saying that he was clean bill of health. So he got one test and was turning in the same test over and over. And they finally caught on to that. Well, he's the only one in the building, because everybody else is working remote from home. And he's like, I don't know why I have to have the test, because I'm the only person even in the freaking building. And it's like, I come in at 8, I don't see a soul, I leave at 5. It's like, why do I need to test it? When they caught on, he was using the same test. Well, then they made him work from home. Because the test, you couldn't get the test anymore there for a while or whatever.
Yeah.
So they made his job remote, and he's like, well, then why am I paying $1,200 for rent? Then got rid of his apartment and moved back home.
Nice.
So what you got there, Leroy?
Oh, right. Wait, does it have a microphone?
Talk really loud.
Yeah. Cool.
Talk really loud.
Loud. Loud.
Your camera's not on, Jim.
I'm trying. I'm working. Having trouble waiting.
I could have given you a camera if I hadn't told my Prius.
Sometimes we have
Somebody gave
trouble
me like 8 of
connecting
them.
your dots, you know what I'm saying? Just saying.
Did that thing just wink?
Probably.
It blinked.
It winked. And then it blinked.
It's blinking more than winking. I think it's the refresh rate on the camera, so you see it as 2 separate things,
Okay,
if that makes sense.
yeah.
That's hilarious.
Hello.
The one number T.
Hello.
And the hum of the TV
Hello.
and every wire ever conceived of.
We need more wires.
Need more wires.
Hello. Hello. Hello.
Talk,
That's not
talk
good.
loud. Talk loud.
I was doing better. Oh, you're blocking the microphone. His nose must be the microphone. There we go. Hello. No, still. Yeah, I wonder what it was.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Hmm. Whistle.
This is a test.
So do the
So
eyes
Not
do
yet.
anything with sound?
Not yet.
So just random.
Doodah.
Are you gonna do the ping pong balls and servos?
I'm not planning on it. The eyes don't actually track anything.
Oh, wow.
They're just random animations. I did actually, I found the camera that the other project was using
Mhm.
for the animations. And that camera's $10.
Huh,
And
that's out of your range.
no, I ordered,
That's right in your range there, Leroy.
tiny little cameras, shipping was $10. They're supposed to be here tomorrow. But my plan is to hook the camera up and reprogram the animation to trigger with the camera. Cool. So that's going to be another experience of playing with how this stupid thing works.
What's the resolution of the camera?
I don't know. It probably ain't great because it's just a person camera. It's not even really a face tracker according to the website. It's just looking
There's
for a
motion
blob.
over there.
Yeah, it's looking for a blob. So it probably ain't great. But this has gone through a couple of different variations. I've taken here, Steve can't see it as well, but I have taken the I had an audio kind of spectrum deal
Mhm.
going, and you had the lows and the highs. And sometimes it was kind of in the mid where it wasn't so great. This is more of a raw, just what the microphone hears
Mhm.
comes out onto the screen.
Yeah.
So this is amplitude modulation. So the louder you get, the better the thing.
So there's no AVC on it?
No, it's strictly an analog microphone. This M5 stack has an analog microphone built into it, which is perfect, almost perfect for this project. Once I get things working, I haven't figured out how exactly I'm going to have it talk. I'm probably going to hook another device up and get rid of the microphone altogether and just come in on like an analog pin and do some raw readings. And that would eliminate a lot of the noise that it hears.
Mhm.
But lots of progress.
Yeah.
Okay.
It actually wasn't as hard to do as I thought it was going to be.
So you're sampling the mic and
I take 216 samples because that's the size of the screen.
mhm.
And then as
I'll
soon
set
as
it up as
those,
a register.
I put them in an array. All the samples are the analog voltage on them. Even the lowest is 1800 millivolts or something like that. I mean, it's up there, so I have to drop it down to a level that can actually be displayed on the screen. Because the resolution of the TV is like 140
640 by 480 at best.
140 by 216 to 220, something like
Really?
that. Yeah.
That low.
Yeah, it's pretty low. So I have to, and then the way I'm doing this right now, if I make a lot of changes to it, the center line will actually either raise or lower. So the midpoint right now of my conversion is about the center of the screen. So I'm trying to keep the center line center. If that makes sense. And then,
It'd be fun to add a pot to adjust the multiplier there.
that's an idea. I could do that. I'm not real. I mean, normal, I'm happy with the results,
Yeah,
but just normal talking. I mean, you really have to talk up to get a kind of actual thing on there. And I think a lot of that when I hook up a little amplifier and hook up a radio or something directly to it,
oh, yeah.
that's going to solve that problem. But I was trying to adjust the height of the display and everything else, and that's the best I could get it to do without going completely wacky and just being everywhere.
Somewhere at home, I've got 2 or 3 Teddy Ruxpin guts,
Oh,
if you want those.
I see that. That is actually what I was thinking for the animated eyes.
Those were just a servo drive.
Yeah.
In fact, it was servo noise. They were using analog servo controllers, and the right channel of the audio tape was
Just noise.
yeah. And they responded very well to AC/DC. With just a regular cassette in there, Teddy sang the left channel and the eyes moved for the right channel.
So I think having a Teddy Ruxpin with an ESP32 would be awesome.
Okay, I'll see if I can find it for them. My ex worked for a company that repaired those things many years ago. And I ended up with at one point a box of them.
Some of the leftovers.
Yeah,
So it's just the servo that's in it is just hooked directly up to the audio channel, or
yeah, there's, well, and
through
there's
an amp.
there's a little decoder
Yeah.
that pulls the audio for that channel out
Okay.
and decodes it to the 3 servo channels it uses. It's got one for the mouth, one for the eyes up and down, and one for the eyelids open and close.
It doesn't do left and right.
No,
Okay.
but could relatively easily. Maybe that was the 3rd channel, left and right. I'm pretty sure it had eyelids. I don't know.
It blinked. I thought its eyes moved left and right, and it blinked and its mouth moved, but I don't know. It's been a long time since I had one of those. So. But
I think they reintroduced those things.
when Vicente first showed me the original, the very first thing I thought of was Teddy Ruxpin. I was like, oh, this would be perfect for a Teddy Ruxpin.
May have only had 2 channels.
Seems to me like the mouth wasn't really synced, it just moved.
Later versions have a digital cartridge in place of a cassette. Worlds of Wonders. Started out 1985 to 1990. The ones I had were those. Hasbro made them from 91 to 96. Yes Entertainment from 88 to 99. Backpack Toys from 2005 to 10. And Wicked Cool Toys from 2017 to 2019. Everybody keeps buying these. We'll make them work. Damn, 3 years later.
It's great for the hacking community.
But yeah, if you pull apart real old RC radio receivers, the chip that's in those is what they had driving that thing, and they were cheap.
Okay,
The electronics were like 40 cents,
yeah.
literally. It was the first place I ever saw a 4-pin, 3.5 millimeter wire. It had that for the accessories, and I had some of those too. There was a caterpillar or inchworm or
I
something,
remember, yeah, I remember some of the,
and I don't remember how, because that was a separate set of channels. Maybe they read all four tracks on the cassette at once or something.
there was, I know there was a way to take audio cassette and turn it. I think it was turning it into an 8-track.
Mhm.
And I know a lot of toys used that particular method
Yeah.
because they could encode stuff on, and if you listen to the tape in a regular player, it sounded funky because it
Wrong speed and too
yeah,
many tracks in the wrong place.
yeah.
8-track's an interesting thing. You know what that was originally invented for? And by who?
Seems like I should know what an 8-track was.
Yeah, Lear of Lear Aircraft. It was part of a guidance system,
Yeah,
and
I kind of remember.
it was such a high quality system that they never put it in airplanes. Other than experimental stuff, like, nah, screw this.
Yeah, I thought it was one of the first black boxes, but yeah,
It wasn't
I believe
for-
that.
Tracking. It wasn't black box. It was to control the plane. They were going to use it to do autopilot from. This is the cartridge to go from Cincinnati to Denver.
Oh, that's insane.
Why are we in Albuquerque?
Got the wrong cartridge.
Oh, so it did decode correctly. Now we're sitting in Canada.
It switched tracks at the wrong time.
They do use, or they did use, like 8-track kind of deal in planes for doing the messages and the announcements. And I watched a guy on YouTube. He had a big video. He bought one of the recorders.
Mhm.
He didn't know what it was. He bought it off of eBay. It has like 12 cartridges in it.
Little cartridges,
No, these things are,
full size.
oh, they're
Biggest-
bigger than 8-track. They're 3/4 inch
Okay.
tape,
Oh,
but they're 8 tracks on per
Mhm.
tape. And there's like 12 of them in this box. And when you play them back, he finally got it figured out what the pins were for and how to get it to play back. And when you play them back, you get like French or German or something.
Oh, that's cool.
So he said he suspected that they all had the exact same message on them. But if you were flying to Germany, you were going to play the English version and the German version.
Mhm.
And if you were flying to France, you were going to play the English version and the French version to cover
Cool.
the entire flight. And then as you got further into it, there were like water landing procedures and
In case you're about to die, do this.
just stuff that the pilot wouldn't have to think about it, that the stewardess could just hit a button on a concert and play these messages to tell people what to do.
Nice.
And they were 8-track. It was
That's hilarious.
huge 8-track cartridges.
Well, so not really 8-track because it didn't have the metal strip for doing sensing. But when I was growing up, my dad had an audio player that he got out of a Kmart or something. It did their background sound, and it was a wooden box 18 inches square and 10 inches tall. And it had a cartridge that had 2 reel-to-reel tape things in it. And it would play all the way end to end, but it was 1 track at a time, and it physically moved ahead to the 4 positions. And they were big reels,
Yeah.
and they played slow because it was Kmart speakers. And he had Christmas music on this thing, and he would start playing it right after Thanksgiving. It was about a 20-hour loop.
So
It was awful.
that's what these big cartridges in the plane were. They were a continuous loop, and so you.
Well, this wasn't. It was two distinct reels, but they were friction drive on the rim. The player had a capstan that stuck up in one corner, and that drove all of the reels, and it zigzagged back and forth so that when they were both going clockwise, one was winding, one was unwinding.
Yeah.
And it'd play till the tape got tense enough to trip a little wire sensor, and then it would reverse and go another
Go the
6
other way.
hours. And it was slow. And my dad was into hi-fi stuff. I mean, I remember going through probably 5 reel-to-reel recorders because now this one I can hear the hiss.
Yeah,
So he'd go get another one. I'm like, okay.
I can hear the hiss.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He would rip albums to tape. And he'd go buy an album and he'd clean it out of the brand new, never been played. He'd clean it, and then he'd clean it with lighter fluid. And then he'd clean it with alcohol because sometimes the lighter fluid would leave shit behind. Stuff, sorry. He'd play it once to listen to it and set the levels and everything, and then he'd play it another time to record it. And then he would take that recording and make the sets to keep in the Volkswagen, because you had to have primo music in a Volkswagen.
Of course.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Wow. So you had surround sound speakers in your Volkswagen?
Actually, yes.
I did. Well, the Volkswagen, the 74 I had was so easy to put stuff in and take stuff out of. I had that thing wired up for all kinds of different things.
It was nice to be able to go to Kmart and get repair parts.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think we need another Volkswagen. Easy to repair car, no computer. I love computers dearly, but they don't belong in a car. On the other hand, being able to get in the passenger seat of a car, reach over and start it, it's pretty sweet.
Mm,
I like the Volkswagen buses. They were great.
the Vanagons.
0 to
Oh,
60.
yeah.
eventually.
Someday soon.
They were not the most stable vehicles in the world.
My one of my friends had a Vanagon, and he had an old Porsche engine in that thing.
Nice.
I thought he was completely nuts. Because of course the old Porsche engines were, just bigger VW engines. And he had a Porsche engine in this Vanagon.
And some of them had an extra pair of cylinders too. One of the coolest dune buggies I ever saw out in Las Vegas, where there were lots of dune buggies. Some guy had taken one, and it was a stretch dune buggy. He had turned the transmission around, and it was a mid-engine dune buggy, and it had a Corvair Monza engine in it.
Mm,
So about 285 horsepower. Running pretty comfortably. That thing would throw sand 100 feet straight up. It was just amazing.
I saw plenty of people that had Chevy small block
Mhm.
engines mounted in the front of their VWs.
Oh,
Yeah. Scary.
So were they front wheel drive then?
now
No,
they had a standard Chevy transmission and
Yeah.
they swapped out a Corvette rear axle probably.
they,
Okay,
and it was
It was a Volkswagen body on a Chevy.
pretty much, it was a shell of, it was a VW Bug. If you
And we
look past the engine and everything.
Yeah, that thing wouldn't be strong enough to support an engine that size.
Yeah, I don't know. I've seen plenty of people do it.
I had
So,
a 68, it was baby blue. And at about 45 miles an hour, the passenger front wheel would start to shimmy. So you hit the grass on the side of the road, and once you got past about 50, it was fine. You get back up on the road and get it all the way up to 62.
I had one that had. I don't really know what the problem was with it, but they had, between the two struts on the front wheel, they had stuck a bar in between to keep it from angling in.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, oh, that's a unique solution for this particular problem. I had one that was an auto stick. You remember the auto sticks? That was interesting. That was an interesting car. Especially you could drop it in the fourth gear and just drive.
Ooh.
You never needed to shift it.
Oh. Now that's really 0 to 60 eventually.
It wasn't horrible. It was VW speed.
Yeah.
But off cliff goes faster.
Not a lot.
I always kind of wondered about that auto clutch though, because
It was just
it was a centrifugal clutch system.
no, it wasn't.
It wasn't?
It was hydraulic. It was a normal torque converter. Just had a transmission behind it. They beefed up the synchronizers, but that was it. If you went from second to first, it would grind if you weren't kind of careful. But everything else was okay.
I always kind of wondered why, if they were going to do that, why they just didn't make an automatic.
Because that would have a cost associated with it.
Yeah, but I mean, like I said, I just jammed it in the fourth gear and drove it. And it didn't seem like it cared.
I love playing with mine in the snow.
You said this was new.
It was.
Do you see the sticker on the back?
I didn't say that it was,
New old stock.
yes, it's
Yeah.
new old stock. Vicente apparently has 4 of these things.
Oh, that-
Well, he has
All the
3 now.
colors.
He has 3 now.
He probably brought them up from Venezuela.
He
They're
Flea market.
still on the shelf there.
found them, he
Probably.
found them at a flea market, is what he said.
He hit those flea markets. I think you tipped him in on that.
He
Oh,
hits those, he
Then it
hits
was
those
over.
flea markets hard.
Which flea markets?
He likes Trader's World,
Mhm.
and I think he's gone over to Pirates Cove a couple of times.
I haven't been for a long time. I went past one and go to the conference Saturday and I was like, man. I'm gonna
Yeah.
come up here and go to
He's big on Trader's World. Trader's
Indoor
World.
air
is his favorite.
conditioning now, that'd probably be nice compared to what it used to be back like the last time I was there.
100 times faster than Wi-Fi. Li-Fi.
It's lying to you. What's Li-Fi?
Light-based networking standard release.
Oh,
Okay,
oh, shoot.
and it's only 100 times faster. Light should be really fast.
I remember I built a thing, good Lord. Trying to remember the name of the website, but it was a 10 megabit infrared coupler with a range up to about a mile. And like had set of binoculars, had a receiver on one side, emitter on the other, another set of binoculars down there. It worked. It actually worked really well, but
I
it was ugly.
did it with one of the really cheap lasers
Mhm.
that you could send a pulse, hook it up to the Arduino and send a pulse to it. And on the other side, I had a solar cell and a speaker hooked up, and I could
Yeah.
play music through that stupid thing. It worked really well. And then I sent data across it a couple of times, and I did some other stuff, and I was like, that's neat, but it's kind of useless.
802.11 BB.
BB.
Lowercase. Yeah, lowercase BB.
Well, problem with using the laser like that is it pretty much had to be focused at one point. But if the solar cell was off just a little, you were getting horrible data rates from it.
Or zero data rate.
Or zero, yeah.
Yeah.
So what kind of modulation did this system use, Leroy?
I just hit it with pulse width modulation. Or when I was doing the data, I just hooked it up to the serial lines on the Arduino Uno. And I think I set the baud rate at 9600 and it worked fairly well. As long as it got a decent signal. As long as you were pretty solid on that solar panel, it worked pretty well.
As
Okay.
fast as 224 gigabits per second.
Okay, that's
That's
pretty
That's
good.
decent, yeah.
That's fast.
HP's data center is supposed to be able to parse with 750 petabytes in 3/4 of a second. But they're wanting somebody to make the operating system for the computer to keep up with it. After they alienated their
Ask
clientele.
the AI to build them an operating system.
Yeah. That's probably the only people wanting to do it for free, because that's what they wanted. After they told everybody to pound salt, that HP wasn't gonna. Wanted you to have subscription for everything.
What is going on with Linux and Red Hat?
Red Hat is, I feel, shooting themselves in the foot. But legally, they're right. They have allowed a lot of people to take the product of their
Library, make it free.
Yeah. They want to profit from the work they've done. They've always profited from the work they've done.
That's IBM now, right?
Yes. And honestly, I believe that Red Hat wanted to do this sooner. And they just finally said, okay, now that IBM's bought us, we can make them the bad guy.
Well, that makes
They're a convenient bad guy.
Well, Some of the rumors I'm hearing, I'm not shocked by it either, just because if Microsoft's gonna pull an Apple and manufacture their own chip
Mhm.
and oust AMD. And they're gonna be ousting Linux too. Linux
That's
is gonna,
assuming that people flock to a Microsoft chip. Will it be as reliable as a Microsoft OS?
their patches are wonderful, right? Right now, it's bricking
Yeah.
AMD computers everywhere.
All along, Microsoft has been able to say the reason we're not as stable as Apple is because Apple controls the entire product line.
Yeah,
That's a reasonable point. When you've got to make drivers for God only knows what sort of hardware and ensure that it works with your OS, it's hard to do.
well, but that's the thing, to me, Microsoft doesn't make the drivers for all those third.
Well, now that's true, but they make the interface that determines what device needs what driver.
You know,
When you plug in a USB printer, it queries, the OS queries the printer, finds out the model, and then they look up in a table and say that should be this driver.
Mhm.
I think that they have improved with that on Windows 10 over everything else where you had to load the driver yourself.
yeah,
There's very few pieces of hardware where you actually have to load drivers anymore.
well, that's because everybody registers their device with Microsoft.
Right. And I'm good with that. I think it encourages driver manufacturers to do that more. And also, but Windows is more Linux-like now in that they're going for chip drivers instead of HP drivers. Used to be HP built a thing, went to the manufacturer of the chips and said, give us a driver, and then they put all of their, oh, don't you need to buy new ink cartridges now?
Yeah,
The
And that's happening less and less.
there's starting to become some universal print drivers too,
Mhm.
that all manufacturers are just going, yeah, we'll use that driver, or
Yeah, there's
we can make our
basically,
printer work with that driver or whatever.
there's basically one driver for Rico that also works with
well, you're buying
Canon.
the same control chips made in the same plant.
Yeah.
That they're sticking in all these printers. Nobody's custom designing their own chips anymore.
Right.
But I'm just curious at the
but-
point where Apple or Microsoft saying, and this is what allegedly what Windows 12 is gonna be rolling out next year. Is if they launch their own chip. And in order to use your computer, you now have to pay Microsoft a monthly fee. On that chip.
I'm not doing that.
Nope.
Well, but I mean, what's your alternative? to
I
switch
think
to?
a whole bunch of people are gonna go, huh, I'll just continue with Intel and do Linux.
Well, but that's Intel is looking to, Intel's in bed with. Microsoft on this change and they're looking to leave AMD out in the wind.
Well, I will continue to buy AMD and put Linux on it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I will continue to do whatever's cheapest.
AMD. Years ago, AMD was just a powerhouse, and then they kind of fell out for a little while, but they're back and they're strong again.
Oh, yeah, the AMD EPIC processors are just
Oh,
astounding.
They're the one that I've got, the whatever it is, 12 flipping cores. I don't need 12 flipping cores. But for the cost,
Yeah,
I was looking at a mini IPX motherboard today at work, because I really need to build an NAS. And this thing supports 14 hard drives on an AMD EPIC processor at 100 watts total power dissipation.
have you seen the new Chinese boards?
I'd be pretty cautious with that. It'd have to be awful cheap for me to start playing with
They're
those.
like $200 and they're 20 watt. Power consumption. went asleep.
How many cores?
It-
Oh,
they're-
I don't mean to say.
they're like armed. So they're perfect for NAS posting. It's crazy, but they got like 4 2.5 gig NIC ports on them and like, I don't know how many, like 16 core.
Oh,
It's crazy.
this one was
Is all that gonna be
32.
pushed out by the GPUs now? The CPUs were replaced by GPUs.
No, GPUs are basically a co-processor.
Hmm. But
They do very
awful
specific
powerful.
things.
Yeah,
They're very powerful, but they don't have a physical interface to things like drives and stuff. With one
Oh.
exception, NVIDIA launched something that has an M.2 slot on it. I
Yeah.
have no idea what for.
Yeah, but
Because they can.
I'll shoot you a video, but I was looking at a review the other day, this British guy, because the electric's so high over there, I mean, he's researched the crap out of this stuff.
Mhm.
But there's like a $230 board. It's got the 4 2.5 gigabit NIC ports on it. Has like 6 M.2 SATA that you can put in, then it's got 6 SATA 3 ports.
All active simultaneously?
Yeah, because and then it has a card expansion, so you can actually put 6 more M.2 on that
Mhm.
expansion card.
Yeah, I don't need that.
But anyhow, for like, I think it was like $1,000, he built a 36 terabyte thing with 3 SATA drives that he buys in for like all the parts. It comes out to like $1,100. But yeah, I was like,
the game is on, guys.
So,
yeah,
Oh,
so nobody.
China's largest export, what's China's largest export?
People. Oh,
Fentanyl.
oh, really?
You know what their number 2 export is now?
opium.
You'll never guess. Counterfeit postage stamps.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, that's hilarious. Yeah, there's not a lot done to.
Protect the stamps. I was cracked up about that.
They're selling on eBay. We were looking at them the other day. You can buy them.
For when they meant
10
forever
years ago.
stamps, and they went up again this week.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
like,
Oh, really?
Please.
oh yeah, it went up like
Counterfeit
45 cents a
Yeah,
stamp.
66 cents now.
Yeah,
Really?
just
Okay.
to send an envelope, and then the postage for like a postcard went up 5 cents too. But yeah, it's like if you have a sticker machine, you can print all the stamps you want all day long. Yeah.
I haven't mailed a letter in
What's snail mail?
a
Yeah.
long time.
Well, that's that's what kicks me off. So like the mail, like I used to send my buddy in the army hard drives, depending on where he was at. And I mean, it was $3. It was a fit, it ships, especially the military bases. Well, it's like $25 now to go mail a freaking hard drive. I was like, you're better off to order it from Amazon and get the free shipping.
I mean,
100-piece forever stamps, $30 on eBay.
that packages are really the only thing I ever get in the mail.
Yeah.
Everything else is
Well,
electronic.
I don't understand how it can be so cheap for Amazon to do shipping when it costs everybody else a fortune.
Everybody else is paying for it.
Yeah,
There you go.
well, it's like the third party and small companies have to flip the bill when Amazon's got some kind of deal.
And China, I
Well-
think China's getting all that crap over for nothing.
eBay had to deal with the post office for a long time. I mean, if you were a seller and you would use eBay to actually generate the postage,
Mhm.
you were getting it a little cheaper because eBay was getting it cheaper.
Yeah,
They bought it, they bought like 14 trillion,
right. Well,
whatever.
I
And
get it that they get a disc or a certain amount of discount, but I mean, it was like $700 shipping to get my exhaust for my truck.
right,
Or I can spend $10 more for the part on eBay or on Amazon and
And get it for free.
include the shipping.
Yeah.
Somewhere that shipping costs, where'd it go?
Yeah.
It
Well-
just seems strange.
some, I don't know. But what exactly see, I missed the whole thing. I know that there's a
No.
big problem
So
with Red Hat. What exactly did they do
So in
to
the
take
past-
everybody off?
In the past, what Red Hat did was they provided source RPMs.
Okay,
So instead of installing, for instance, cron, you could install the source for cron.
okay,
And they said what they did to compile it. So you could compile it exactly the way they did. And you could generate the same cron binary that they came up with. And you could compare the SHA-256 checksums and verify it's binary compatible. So I could take an executable that I made myself on a CentOS box and put it on a Red Hat box, and it would run. It
okay,
was guaranteed to be bug compatible or feature compatible or whatever you want to call it. They were guaranteed to be the same. Red Hat has said we're not going to release those to non-paying customers anymore. And they've
Okay.
changed their license to you are not allowed to give these to other people, which I don't disagree with them on.
yeah, it doesn't sound like such a horrible,
Red Hat has always been pretty darn good on their licensing.
yeah,
I did some work for GE at one point, and they had 5,000 machines. I'm on the phone with the Red Hat guys and the CTO. We're trying to figure out what it's going to cost. Like, now, understand, this is a long time ago. But Red Hat's like, so how many machines are we talking about here? We said around 5,000. So how about we license you for 1,000? Okay. Cool.
Red Hat has always been a commercial Linux. I mean,
Sort of.
it's always been a commercial product though.
So there's Red Hat and Red Hat Enterprise Linux, different things. Originally, Red Hat was, hey, this is cool stuff. Wouldn't you like to use it? We'll help you with it. And they garnered a huge knowledge base.
Okay,
If you call Red Hat and say, I'm this licensed user and we're trying to do this and it's not working, they say, okay, type SOS in a command line. And now put in my email address and it shows that creates this big tar file of a huge amount of info from your machine, emails it to Red Hat, and 12 minutes later they go, oh, you need to edit this file, add this stanza, and you should be fine. Restart the service.
and an enterprise user, that's very
That is
valuable.
gold.
That is
Yeah.
extremely valuable.
They absolutely know their product. I don't know if anybody has ever actually called Microsoft to say something's not working,
And they laugh at you if they bother to stay on the phone.
but the difference in support is absolutely phenomenal.
Calling for anything more than a key reset,
And
bounce all to Microsoft.
Well,
So-
even calling for a key reset can lead you down a rabbit hole.
Well, yeah,
What-
it takes like 3 hours, but you can get it done sometimes.
what a huge number of companies would do is they would have one Red Hat machine and 500 CentOS clones.
Okay,
And now they're paying one license and they've got 501 machines.
and Red Hat is saying
Yeah, that ain't right.
that ain't right. And
And honestly, if you did something over here and it didn't work, copy it over here, make sure it doesn't work, call Red Hat. And now you can make it work on all of it. Because
it's all the same.
everything in Linux is a file.
Yeah.
And everything is easy to copy and everything is easy to script.
I'm
That's the biggest one for me.
I'm not I'm not exactly sure that Red Hat is entirely to blame for.
Oh, I feel for Red Hat.
I just hate the
So
loss
you-
of civics.
Oh, thanks.
Hey,
Well, okay.
I'm a cheap bastard, so I learned KPOS.
see, I'm trying to figure out how it would affect me because I'm a Linux Mint user.
It doesn't affect
at all.
you.
It's not going to affect me one little bit,
Thank you.
except if a source package
Unless you're using Alien.
gets alienated or something, which I don't use Alien anymore. I don't
So
need to.
eventually, it is going to affect you because if this works out in Red Hat's favor, and it will, then eventually Debian will do the same thing.
And I don't really have a problem with that either.
Yeah.
I mean,
mean,
I think,
how many
I think
clones of Ubuntu are there?
millions.
Yeah, and Canonical is a big commercial Linux distribution.
Mhm.
Canonical owns Ubuntu and they sell Ubuntu. Basically, every distribution that's in wide use in cloud scenarios is going to go to a license.
Well, I mean, I guess it was bound to happen eventually, but everything I see is we're still at like 3 to 7% of the market share.
You really think that?
I don't, but that's what I see.
I think that's what Microsoft wants people to think. But I
That's
think
what I
that's
see.
absolutely wrong. Depends on how you count market share. You're saying, well, a company just counts as a person. But if you want to say how many people have a cell phone that runs some version of Unix, when's the last time you saw a Microsoft phone?
I don't think I've.
I owned one at one point.
I own two.
You admit that?
Mhm.
Oh,
They were good. photos,
you need to be.
weren't they?
What was the music player that they had?
June,
The Zune, yeah, that shit brown. What a bad
the thing
design.
that was supposed to compete with the iPod. I cannot get this out of the flipping back.
Oh, they are hard to get open. You're gonna have to tell us a secret, I
Sure.
can say. Yeah,
Can't get this out of the.
It's called not leave them in the car and melt.
That's what Vicente did.
That's why I need to have them around.
he just told me to see what we'll do.
You
We're
want
in
to watch
trouble. We're in trouble here, Vicente. We might need some help.
What? No.
No,
He's still trying to get the first one.
What's the problem? The
You got some
packaging?
good audio books.
it's melted. It's melted inside the.
Well, it's just
Full
the wrapper is stretchable plastic and you can't open it. It's hard.
Where do you get those?
Take another one,
I don't want any more.
in the airport,
Airport?
Yeah.
Okay.
there is a store, candy store of everything.
We got a couple of audio books appeared this month. One of the buses we missed, it looks like, is The Last Bus to Wisdom. Is a good read. It's a kind of light, good feel book. And then apparently there were complaints, and that's a book by one of the actors off of Cagney and Lacey. Very good book.
We have the face all over the store.
The camera will be here tomorrow. And then I'm going to mess with how it works with the eyes and stuff.
Yeah, we need to make a platform for it.
I need to get rid of all these wires. Look at all these flipping wires. But if you talk really loud, it does really well.
Can change the game or not.
Not really.
It's software or is an amplifier?
No, it's all software.
Obviously, I know it feels like you want to put your fingers on the front of the mirror.
I've changed it. This is the best I can get it to do.
I hear Ray, but I don't hear Ray.
Yeah,
Ray must be traveling somewhere.
I'm here somewhere.
yeah. Check up under your coasters.
My coasters.
Yeah, coffee coasters, yeah.
The little eyes can't stick. There's no video. There's Ray.
There's Ray.
Ah, yeah.
It's an analog microphone that's not amplified. And the levels are like 1900 microvolts. And so I dropped it down so that it would actually be a number that I could display. But if I make it any bigger, then it also makes everything bigger, the noise and everything. So
Looks like you got a little work there, Ray.
We're rebuilding 2 laser machines. Probably take today and tomorrow. We rebuilt another one at his house yesterday. So yeah, they're a lot of work. This is actually clean compared to how it was when I arrived. New control system, new wiring, lots of stuff. But it does have this really cool feature. I've never seen this hinge on the side, the whole like the side of the laser machine just lays down so you can get in there and clean stuff easier. I've never seen that. Normally it's just a door, but it turns out that both of these machines have this rollover side. That's kind of cool.
So now you're going to figure out how to modify yours, right?
No. So it started off like really, really dirty, nasty on the inside. But yeah, we're just here cleaning. I'm in, name of the city is called Bird in Hand, Pennsylvania. And it's a neat little company. They make a lot of stuff that goes into Christmas ornaments, Christmas shop. Like, so anything you wanted to buy for Christmas decorations stuff, I guess that's it. That's what they do. Fun stuff. So I just thought I wanted to check in so you guys knew that I was still alive, traveling or whatever. So I'm still here.
Charity chicken?
Did you see that, Ray?
No.
Hello. Hello. We're talking. And the eyes
Okay.
look at you. Ah.
Help, Ray, we may need some help here. You know, a good
Okay.
psychologist?
I want.
Psychologist.
I still can't get it out of me. Oh.
How quickly we turned from a good conversation about Red Hat to goofy robot needing a psychologist.
You're catching on to us, yeah. And you missed the Li-Fi / Wi-Fi comparison. Li-Fi is light up to 624 gigabits per second.
Wow. Okay.
He's got one of the toys too.
Maybe you can chuck that in yet.
It's nice.
I'm thinking when I actually finally get to hook up some sort of voice or AI or something to it. I'm going to get rid, I'm not going to use the microphone at all. I'm just going to put a little amp on it and use an analog pen. And that will solve the whole having to talk loud.
So you just change the gain on the amplifier?
Put some AGC on it, yeah.
There really is no, the mic's built in, there really is no amp on it. It is what it is at this point. But I'm pretty happy that it works as well as it works.
You do software AGC.
Well,
Just multiply your output,
I
kind of track
I
it.
kind of did. But it's real picky. And but I've been playing with this for like, I was up until 4 o'clock this morning doing this. So I've been playing with this one for a while. This is a whole lot better than the Spectrum Analyzer though. I mean, it works
Mhm.
a whole lot better.
There's a lot of math to do a spectrum analyzer. You're doing multiple Fourier transforms.
It's a good thing there's a library for that because I don't want to do the math.
You don't want to do the code, you don't want to do the math.
He just doesn't want to do the work.
I'm starting to feel that way.
Yeah.
I'm seeing it.
You're feeling my pain.
I feel I don't know if I'm feeling your
So
pain, but I
Leroy, you
definitely
want to
seen
be
the-
replaced by an AI?
I do not want to be replaced by an AI. Not particularly, but
Don't worry, the medic robot said that it wasn't gonna replace anybody.
Oh,
No.
that's good.
yeah.
Yeah, I saw that. Like,
She's, in her programming, she's just an assistant to assist.
Wasn't that didn't the creator of that one even laugh about it a little bit?
I'm not sure.
There was a video I saw where somebody said, "Are you going to replace humans?" And the robot said, "No, that's not my job." And the creator of the robot even went, "Oh, oh."
Well, it was the same. Her perspective, she was just an assistant. Helping out with medical needs and cleaning toilets.
It's all good until they change their mind.
yeah, I think there should always be a law that there's a big e-stop button. But
Yeah, it's Smith and Wesson.
yeah,
I could see that. You saw that. On all the air.
You two the one open?
No, I'm not even in the mood to try right now.
You want me to try it?
Why don't you eat it?
So I don't like coffee. But I'll open it for you.
Really?
I don't really need more coffee. But
Hey guys, as engaging as this is, I gotta get back to work, get back to my customer, but I'm glad I got the chance to stop in and say hi.
Yeah, it's good to see
Take
you.
care.
Next week
Bye,
I'll
Ray.
be Wisconsin. Hopefully I'll be able to check in then too. But then after that, I think I'm back in the shop and doing setting up metal cutting laser. So
you've received them?
no, I'm expecting to receive it within 2 weeks. Yeah, so we've got our 3-phase electric, we got our space cleared out, we're ready to go.
Very good. Congratulations.
When do we get to visit?
As soon as I get it running.
I wanna
You
see
can visit
it.
sooner than that, but I won't have nothing to show you.
We're not gonna live that long.
Well, maybe you. I plan on living a lot longer. All right, I'll talk to you guys later.
I'm back.
See ya.
so long.
Bye, Mr. Ray.
Alright,
Take care.
You ever do the tour of the robot place? Yeah,
I think he's
Raise?
yeah.
Yeah.
No,
no, he
Graves got us a tour through where they build the military drones.
Yeah.
And I was just wondering if we've ever done that yet.
we have not, and I think Ray has kind of forgotten about that. Somebody probably ought to remind Ray.
He kind of gets busy occasionally.
Yeah, I reach out to him. I never hear back from him ever, so I
There
just,
may be a reason for that.
Oh,
He's out in parts unknown.
yeah. But yeah, they said they were supposed to invite us the next time they build the one drone. They only build 4 a year or something. They were supposed to go see when they do the bomb disposal drone for its test before they ship it to the army.
So
What are we
Here-
looking at here, Leroy?
this is the code for the sketch that's running.
Ah, okay.
So the horizontal value is 216. Which is basically the resolution. And this is what I'm doing. You know, if there's a better way to do it, then I will be happy to do it. But I'm reading the mic 216 times. And then I am
But you are mapping it, you can use map to make.
yeah, I map it down here.
Mhm.
I map it down here.
Okay.
I clip a couple of values because if I didn't, then the noise level is just jagged all over the place. So I tried to clip a couple of levels so that it clamps the noise down to more of a,
You are
Flat line.
oversampling 16 times.
do I?
Each sample, you average 16 samples. Each value,
No,
just each value don't go directly to the, okay.
So what he needs is a normalizer algorithm.
this is where it actually ends up getting drawn. Yeah, see, when I tried to actually add like an average to it, and that just threw it all. Oh,
The first number of bright line is what in the function. There is a 1 there. This is the thickness or
It's an I.
It's an I,
I,
so
okay.
it's the X position.
Okay, I is increasing. Okay, yeah.
So are you drawing it in black to erase the previous?
Mhm.
Why? It's gone.
No, it's not.
Well, on TV.
Yeah, if you don't,
Okay, so the RCA jack is reading from memory. You're not pushing something out directly. It's got some memory mapped chunk that it keeps refreshing out of, and you have to erase the line in the memory map. Okay. And green works better than white.
no, white's just too bright.
Uh,
Green is just. White is, I mean,
White's back.
But you can change the stroke or the white of the line, make it more.
yeah, there's probably an option to draw a line for that.
well, I tried drawing rectangles and I tried drawing just pixels. Pixels was really neat, just a single dot, but it's not, it's not a continuous
Old fashioned thing.
thing, yeah. But the resolution of the TV is like 216 by like 140 or 144 or something, so it's like a real narrow, so you can't draw too big. And I wanted it in the center, that's why I set the
And also,
the thing to 60 because it averages out at about, I don't know, somewhere around 70, I guess. that's about the best I was able to get it to do. Now, if I hook up an external mic or something with a speaker, I might be able to do a little bit better. But this was the thing.
Can put read value by 2, the noise increase also by 2.
Yeah. Yeah, and pretty much any number I change.
Why are you using the last capture to make a line between the last one and the new one align?
Yeah,
Okay.
that was my thought. That's why it actually makes a line instead of. And then, like if I try to make a rectangle, it starts drawing across the whole screen, and eventually the screen fills up with rectangles, even though I tell it to get rid of the last rectangle, and it confuses the crap out of me why it's doing that. Because I thought rectangles would be nice, but I'm very confused about why.
Where are you cleaning the screen, erasing everything? Each, no, how you erase the line, the last line?
Yeah, that's where the black comes in.
You remember the last 2 values?
Yeah.
And you make a black line over the white, over the green one.
Yeah. So. I'm not displaying the first. The 0 pixel. I'm displaying the first pixel. And I'm adding all the way to it, and I'm subtracting out the last one. So it's not actually, the resolution isn't actually 216, it's more like 214. But it seems to work. I forget why I decided to do that. I think because at one point I was subtracting numbers instead of adding numbers. I decided to add instead of subtract. But I'm pretty happy with how it's working. It's took me a while to figure out what it was actually doing. I actually used a serial plotter for the first time. I was like, I want to see what this thing's doing. So we got somewhere down in here, it was printing to the serial port. And I was like, oh, I know what it's doing. That serial plotter, that thing is really, really cool.
Okay, but did you know about National French Fry Day?
When is National French Fry Day? Do I need to go?
Where to find free fries in Dayton?
That was actually a couple of days ago.
Was it?
I think it was.
I looked.
I missed National French Fry Day.
I'm saying, this is Burger Week here in Cincinnati, isn't it?
Yeah.
Oh,
Have you seen the
Celebrated
new-
Friday,
new,
July 14th.
new cheeseburger in Thailand?
Yeah, 20 slices of cheese.
Burger King says it is a one-shot deal in Thailand. They're not going to do it in the US.
On July 13th, McDonald's is offering its fries free of charge.
Oh,
And
that's
of
today.
any size exclusively via the McDonald's app.
Today is the 13th.
Yes, it sure is.
Not even for free fries. I mean, seriously, that's a serious.
Yeah.
Your commitment to fries is not like.
Infecting all your devices for
Yeah.
a pack of free fries,
We question your decision-making capabilities here.
like Microsoft's new update on their Office 365 crap. And the mandatory Microsoft app now to log in. What was this, your little facey thing?
My what?
What is that, the same thing or?
No, it's different. Is it different, same thing?
Is this a newer
Yes,
or nicer?
in theory,
I don't know what I'm talking about anymore.
I deserve that.
I got this new cool Core S3 thing.
I have no idea what it does or why I've got it.
I'm sure I could look it up online. I'm sure there's a video of how to play with it. It's astonishing what you can find a video for nowadays.
Oh. That's just the demo that came with it. If you hit the microphones, that's what gave me the idea of using raw microphone input for this thing.
IMU is compass.
It's got a compass and an IMU in it.
How much?
Wendy's is offering it from the 13th to the 16th.
55.
Wendy's all good.
Oh, okay.
Won't load their app.
But you might get free fries there too.
Yeah. I get free fries.
I just
My youngest kid works there now.
Oh,
Well, we don't.
What size?
It's got a little bit of everything in it.
I don't know, he brings a bag full of food home every night. Haven't bought anything at Wendy's for a while now.
The leftovers, does he get the leftovers?
Yeah. I gotta give their baked potato with a bunch of chili and cheese on top.
Yeah.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah. Not too bad. What about their burger?
you have it the raw connector I have seen.
Do I?
The red one. Is
Oh, you could
I2C
do
or what?
salads. You could.
One of them is
Yeah.
stereo, one of them is I2C, and one of them is GPIO.
Yeah, you have 1, 2, 3.
I forget which color is which. But I'd have to go and look again. As many M5 stack things that I use, I cannot remember what their color scheme is for their stuff.
They have a model with a longer shape. I mean more wide.
They used to sell, I think it was them, they used to sell a bigger screen that would plug into the I2C bus. It might have been a third party. It might have been somebody else that was doing that.
What's power?
That actually has a physical on and off switch too. Not just the software on and off switch, and an actual real turn it off.
So that optical thing I was looking at, I found it. Ronja.ybright.com. RONJAEWIBRIGHT. And some of their stuff would give much more than a mile.
Interesting.
Maybe IMU is an inertial thing, inertial motion unit or something like that. If you try to stay in the same.
Yeah, like a gyroscope or something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The draw is like a guy.
They had packed a ton of stuff in that thing.
Because you know your robot heading, you can make like a fast movement and then check again for other means as you're heading, and at least you have the telescope to make a fast movement.
Yeah, I think because it's got the physical on and off switch and some other stuff, that would make a really nice controller for a robot. At least a nice start for a controller for a robot. It's got the camera. We can figure, if I can figure out the
power
power.
switch, the working or not.
Yeah.
Have a button here. This is a microphone,
Mm-hmm.
but is I2S or something? Or is analog?
I don't know on that one. I think it's I2S on that one.
I need to check. This can be the my receiver for the ultrasonic distance. 2 weeks delivery or usually.
Yeah. Took about 2 weeks. I want to play with the camera. I think the camera is probably one of the more interesting things on there. The resolution of the camera is not great.
Single core, single core microprocessor, right? The
Yes.
ESP-S3.
The S3? No, I think the S3 is a dual core.
Yes, the C3 is the single core.
Yeah.
This is the new one, the S3. You have Bluetooth, you have Wi-Fi, you have everything.
And from everything I read, the manufacturers are really pushing the S3. Everybody likes the S3.
But the speed is a little less than the ESP32. Instead of 240 is 180.
I think, yeah, that sounds.
It has a native USB port. I'm remembering stuff.
Yeah. It does have a native USB.
It making it cheaper for some application.
Yeah. I mean, that's $55, which is, I paid like 60 some odd dollars for that one. So, I mean, it's right there.
Is it same size?
Yeah.
This is the ESP32.
Just the 32, yeah.
This is touch also no.
No,
Yeah, I like this one.
no, that's what I'm saying. Like $55. I mean, that was 60 some odd dollars. That is,
Always great. Well, you have everything here.
and it's got, DIN rail, so you
For industrial,
can put it on a DIN rail.
your robot also. Battery? How long?
Don't know. Apparently it was charged up last week when I had it. I just forgot that it had the power switch and I couldn't get it to come on because it had the power. Because I didn't turn the power switch on.
I need one of those. Okay.
You want to see that?
I haven't kicked in the place.
They've got a core, one of their original cores on their website right now for $29 in a metal case. It's called the Anniversary Edition. And it's a limited thing. It's one of the original gray cores in a metal case. It actually looks pretty sweet, but I don't need another old gray core.
The Compass does not have my little laptop for me.
Yeah, probably not.
It's got like 60 magnets in it.
I haven't calibrated the compass, so it probably needs to be calibrated. Anyway. It's got plenty of PS RAM, and I mean it's a really nice controller for $55. I wish they had more examples about how to make the camera work though.
How is the support of, there is a lot of people using it? There are, no, there are examples.
There are examples on the web, but you know, it's a fairly new board, so there's not a whole lot of other people. It's like the RCA jacks, there was one example on their website. And from there, I just kind of had to guess about what it was actually doing. How to make it actually do something, how to make it do something useful. Because their demo was displaying their
the RCA connectors and the battery then, or
yeah.
it's a sandwich of three levels, right?
Yes, there's battery, NeoPixels, couple more ports for it, and the microphones are in this part. The microphones are not in this part. And then the RCA jack, the RCA, and then the core itself. This core has the same PS RAM that the Fire has. The Fire has more RAM than the original core. And this is basically a Fire in a white box.
So this thing shows 9 I2C things, screen, the IMU,
I believe
microphones.
so. I don't know if I don't know what's all the I2C on there. Probably. Probably the IMU. There's probably like maybe the camera. If it's like some of their other cores, there's a coprocessor on there handling some of the IO. So there might be a coprocessor that's one of those.
Do the mics. So what are the 2 dots on either side of the camera? Are those the microphones?
It says those are the microphones on the opening screen if you reboot it.
Yeah.
Actually, reboot it. It'll show you all the crap that's inside of it.
Okay. Just tap that.
Should be able to just tap that. If that doesn't work, then hold it down.
So shutdown works through software. This only turns it on, I guess.
And they advertise themselves. Yeah, look at all the crap that's in that thing. Vicente might want to see all the stuff that's actually in it. They have,
Control plasma.
they pack a crap ton of stuff in a little box with a screen on it.
It says hold the power button for 6 seconds and it turns off, but I feel like I held it longer than that. So, did you see the power on screen? Where it tells you what all it wants to do?
What all is inside of it? We're looking at an M5 stack, Core S3. And so far, I've only had it in my hands long enough to give it back to people.
So you wouldn't have missed it at all.
Yeah. I would miss it. Trust me, I'll miss it.
You have two microphones here?
Yeah, there's 2 microphones.
Where is the,
On the front.
there is one here?
No, they're on the front, one on either side of the camera. That's what it says.
I see one here. Oh, the other one.
When it starts, it has a little arrow pointing here.
No, the screen.
Um, put down. So it's got a little arrow there, and I think it's those 2 dots.
Microphone, you need a hole for a microphone.
Well, it's got the plastic on it still. The array hasn't done the peel.
So is it just a peel off skin?
Yeah. Screen protector.
Usually they use this design for microphones, these 2 slots,
Yeah,
but I don't see the other one.
and it would be on the other side probably. Yeah, now.
It's on the faceplate. On the car, there's a motion.
Really nice.
Do ultrasound.
Ultrasound. I don't know.
I'm just saying, it says it's got one on each side of the faceplate like that. If that really is, it could be range finding.
Yeah, I open off door here for what?
For expandable, so you could expand it to do even more stuff. Yeah. I think what they're going to do, I think they're going to do exactly what we said. They're going to put motor controller in it and sell it as a robot platform.
Or maybe another unit in the rail that looks sideways.
I think that's exactly what they're going to do because they've obviously made it so that it could expand.
I like their designs with boxes and everything. It's like Lego for electronics.
Have you seen Core?
Hey,
You recognize that?
Okay,
they're whole.
pretty interesting.
There's a hole. It's a hole.
So you do part
Where in the front?
Yeah. There's a hole. If you peel that off, there's a hole. But look, if I'm talking, I can still see it, so the
No,
plastic isn't making a big difference.
so this probably is a similar setup.
This is what gave me the idea for this. Honestly, I actually think the microphone for this is down here on the bottom.
So the little one that I was just looking at, the M5, what's the cost on that?
55,
It's not bad.
considering everything that's in it.
And the CPU?
Considering it has a real on and off power button. Did you notice that it also takes 9 to 12 volts? You can plug a
The range is 9 to 12.
9 to 24, 9 to 24 volt. So that's what I'm thinking this thing is going to become a robot. This thing has to become a robot. It has to.
Make it a robot.
It has to be a robot. With a camera and microphones.
Two microphones. I like that. You can use the difference of arriving of the microphone to know where the sound source is.
I think Vicente is coming around to the M5.
You are the PR of M5 stack.
I like their stuff.
Relations
I like their stuff.
executive.
I don't think they are by far not the cheapest. But they make good stuff. Oh, it's $59. It's went up since I bought it.
Very shocked.
Could have bought it yesterday for 30.
I could have bought it yesterday for sure.
But this is a different base or
No, it's the same one. It went up. It went up.
No, it's not the same.
no?
It's got lugs on it.
Oh, no. The lugs come with it. These little,
Yeah,
they come
The
with,
rail thing.
Yeah, they snap on the bottom.
they snap onto it.
yeah.
I've got them at home. I didn't bring them.
Then you stop. Well, 10 plus.
See, they just
Clip on.
clip on. It's called alternate mounting options. Because it's a den rail, that's the den rail, but if you want to mount it to the wall or something, you've got the option to do that.
It could be a thermostat.
Look at all the stuff it's got. Oh, just stuff.
Camera, screen. SD card. Microphone. USB OTC.
I swear when I bought this a month ago, it was $55.
Well, a month ago, God. This week was Amazon sales, everything had to go up.
See, they've got,
Okay, Leroy,
yeah,
except for hackers, what's the revenue model for this thing? In other words, what are they selling it? Who's their customer?
they actually, most of their stuff has in industrial, they try to actually market most of their stuff to industrial for industrial uses.
I can see how that could be easily done. That den rail thing, I knew exactly. That fit right in the
Yeah,
plant floor.
this isn't the only microcontroller that they sell with DIN rails either. They sell some other stuff that has DIN rails. They will support the hacker community, and they like the hacker community, but they are really trying to target for the small factories, the industrial space.
So this is these are controllers for like a PLC, basically. These are
No, they're
control-
ESP32s. They're microcontrollers.
So this is a controller for industrial processing systems, whether it be bottle cappers or conveyor belts or whatever.
I can see the application people that They build apps like for beer plants. I can see this fitting right in a beer plant. And the application people would love this.
See this one here? This is one of their old
Yeah.
old doors. But it's got the industrial connector on the back.
Yep.
That's motor drive connector. So they were, I don't know why it's attached to that. Oh, they've got wires coming up from the
And
bottom.
if you can load it with a SIM card, oh my God,
Yeah.
that'd be
They
wonderful.
they sell a model that has SIM cards.
Yeah, or you just boot it from the SIM card, say the program. Be just like a PLC, except it could be.
They
Yeah.
Their target market is industrial.
Yeah.
So
But they
it's
don't care that the hackers, that if you go and you look at any one of their controllers, especially the older stuff, there's the metal core
Mhm.
for $30. If you go and you look at this and you go down and you look at the documentation, it was definitely written for hackers. It was not written for industrial people. And if you keep going down the page, you will find sooner or later, oh, this one doesn't have it. Okay, let me get a different
Doesn't have
microcontroller. This one will. This microcontroller is probably more targeted towards the hacker community anyway. But if you go clear down the page, you will find links to thousands of projects. And if you click on any of these projects, it will open up the Hackster.io website, which is for the hacking community. And
The new Pico has a bigger screen, right? The orange is more reddish.
the orange,
The last one.
this one has,
Replaced, I think, by a one with a bigger screen.
yeah, there's two models. There's the original, and then there's the C plus.
Well,
I have both, yeah. They've actually finally put this one on the list of what do they call it? Degraded or degraded or whatever. They're not selling these anymore. They're not selling the C's. They're selling the C pluses. And I guess when their stock goes away, they won't be selling any more C's. But there are a ton of projects. One of my projects is actually in here somewhere. I saw it the other day. I was like, oh, that's cool. So I think they
So their bread and butter is industrial control systems.
yeah, I mean, look at this thing. That is a big linear actuator. Who really needs that at home? I could think of a few things to do with it, but I don't need it.
the blue one is the same size. Well, the screen is bigger.
Well, the blue one is, that's the camera. That's the stick V. And then there was the stick V, the other one. They're both basically the same size.
I think I have it.
You have
somewhere in the box.
you have at least one of those, yeah.
Oh, I like the little train.
Yeah.
I think I have all of them. The blue, the yellow, and the orange.
So Leroy, you buy these directly from the company?
I do now. I used to buy them on AliExpress. But anymore, I just buy it from the website. I'm not saving anything buying it from
They have a store in
AliExpress.
AliExpress.
Do what?
They have the store inside AliExpress.
Yeah, but their prices are
The same.
the same.
The shipping may be cheaper with AliExpress.
Not really.
No.
No.
So
I
are
just-
they stocking in the US?
Yes, but you don't buy directly from them from the US. You've got to go to like DigiKey or Mauser.
Okay,
Both companies both companies carry their product, but like if you wanted to buy the Core S3, I don't think you could find that on DigiKey right now because it's fairly new. So you're gonna have to buy it from them. It's probably sitting on a boat somewhere waiting to get unpacked.
so are they available on Amazon?
You probably could find some, but I don't think it's going to be from the official store. I don't think they have an Amazon store. I think they went AliExpress. I think that's if you don't want to buy directly from them, I think AliExpress is probably the closest you're going to get.
So there's no advantage of buying through distribution in terms of price?
Not really. In fact, the few times I've had to buy from DigiKey, M5 was out of a couple of things. They didn't have the stock anymore, and DigiKey had it, so I bought it, and it cost more. It ended up costing more because DigiKey charged that stupid tariff tax, and they charged it was a little bit higher shipping. It would actually cost more to have it shipped from somewhere in the States than it did from China.
That's funny.
But I probably wouldn't have bought it from DigiKey, except it was one of the products that had been listed as no longer end of life or whatever, however they deprecated, however they want to say it. And amazingly, DigiKey still had like 6,000. Yeah, they had an insane number of them left in stock, and I was like, well, okay.
I'm sure DigiKey was happy to accommodate you.
Yeah. I don't really have a problem with DigiKey. I have bought quite a few things from DigiKey, but it's just when I could get it cheaper from buying directly, it was like, and if it wasn't end of life or whatever, I would have bought it directly from them. So,
well, DigiKey is going to charge you shipping also.
yeah. M5 charges shipping. That may be the only real advantage to. You might get shipping a little cheaper if you buy it on AliExpress, but you're not getting away with much. It's pretty much the same price. I have found though over the many years of buying M5 stack stuff that if you want to deal with them, just deal with them directly on their website, because otherwise stuff gets lost. They don't necessarily follow through as well as you would hope.
I like mouse more than DigiKey, but you can buy other food. You can buy 5-stack, microchip, everything, and the shipping is just all the stuff while shipping.
Yeah. So,
And it used to be in 2 or 3 days.
it is almost 7. I'm gonna break this stuff down. We're breaking down parts.
You got dinner waiting on you there, Leroy?
Patty's out in the lobby waiting on me.
Oh,
So what was the 5-volt power supply back?
I was just, so
It wasn't plugged in.
it was when I first started, that
Oh,
this has a
okay.
battery. I just was making sure that the battery was charged. They all have a battery. Like that one, the battery's dead, so.
I think that's a thing that will fight against them in an industrial space. Nobody wants 200 bad lithium batteries scattered around their.
Yeah.
If you look at the stuff that's targeted towards the industrial space, they really don't have batteries.
Yeah.
Like the battery for this is actually in this base. So you pull this base off, you unhook the battery and
Mhm.
take it out. The battery for this is probably in the base. It's probably not up here.
Okay,
So if you don't need the battery, you can get rid of the battery.
yeah, well, I mean, it's on a DIN rail. It's next to a whole bunch of wires.
Well, and the fact that they actually provide you with a way to plug into 9 volts tells me that
And 24 goes to 24. That's a clue too. Very popular.
very, very popular voltages, yeah. That's a 24 volts is a popular DIN rail voltage. But
So if I wanna run a bunch of pneumatic valves, those are generally 24-volt solenoids. What do I need? Because that isn't gonna do it directly.
No,
no, but
you're gonna have to have some IO. You can probably, you got the I2C, so you can get IO for it. You get industrial IO for it.
they make an industrial motor controller.
Okay.
But yeah, you got other things too, like the PLC has the, what if the power goes off, what do you do? They have options like that and the solenoid kickback, but you can get industrial IO for it,
Alright.
I2C. But the power goes off and the power comes on, what do you do? Okay,
Well, that's why PLCs are good.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and for AC, you need filtering, but you get the industrial IO for it. That'll fix most of your problems.
Run on gas.
so I'm still trying to figure out what to do with this thing. I mean, it's interesting, but I updated the firmware on it. Now it doesn't talk to my credit card properly.
It doesn't.
Nope.
Well. Mine reads my credit card.
It shifted, well. And it emulated.
I don't know about India, but it reads it.
Okay.
Put my name and number and everything on the screen.
Yeah, mine didn't get the name.
Yeah.
It
Bye.
got
We're,
serial.
take care.
number. That was
we'll
all.
see you next week.
It's like,
See you next week.
And how do you
Next
go-
week you're virtual, right?
Yes.
Yes,